Today on Across the Fence, a First Lady of Vermont politics. We'll learn how Lola Aiken found herself front and center at some of the biggest moments of American history. And peep this. We'll tell you what you need to know to start a flock of chickens from the safety and convenience of your backyard. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Poultry have been popping up, or more accurately, hatching in backyards for many years. What may have been a quaint pastime for budding suburban homesteaders has become pressing during the pandemic. Shortages at grocery stores have egged customers on to take a greater stake raising food for themselves. If you're willing to put in the time, having a flock of laying hens or meat birds helps kids and adults know where their food comes from and appreciate the work it takes to raise animals. There's nothing like a fresh egg. Keith Silva spoke with UVM Extension 4-H educator Martha Manning. She runs the 4-H Embryology Project and offers advice to aspiring backyard poultry producers.
For some reason, whether it's related to the virus or not, we don't know, but there's been a huge increase in people purchasing chicks and starting chicks, whether they've incubated them from eggs they've gotten from a neighbor or buy them at a feed store or buy them from a hatchery. We've seen phenomenal growth this year in poultry throughout Vermont.
Martha, what's the first thing we have to know before we even bring chicks home?
So if you're mail ordering chicks, and many of the hatcheries are now booked way into the summer, if you're going to mail order chicks, take some time, think about what kind of chicks you want. Are you raising these chicks for meat, or is your ultimate goal to have a laying flock? Okay, so that two basic decisions. Then from there, decide what breed of chickens you want. Are you, somebody that only likes white eggs, or you don't like small eggs, so you don't want bantam chickens. Make those decisions, then select your breed and decide where you're going to get your birds from. If you're going to mail order birds, be in communication with your local post office, because they will want you to pick those birds up as soon as they arrive. So be sure they have your phone number and a cell phone number. And you'll know approximately what day they're going to come. When you get to the post office and they give you your box of chicks, open the box at the post office. Then if there are chicks in there that didn't make the trip and are dead, you can report that not just to the postmaster, but you'll then be able to go home and call the hatchery. So plan ahead. Have your brooding area all set up, have your feed all at home, your feeders, your waterers, all that ready to go, and the area already warmed, okay? So these chicks, less stress, you're gonna take them from the box right into the brooder. With the increased interest in poultry, it is not uncommon to go to a feed store right now and have them say, we don't have any chick starter. So plan ahead, get your feed ahead. Don't wait till you get down to the last crumb of feed before you resupply. So plan ahead, because they are having problems keeping feed ahead for the number of birds that are now in the local area.
What are some of the things that you need to think about when you're feeding chicks?
You want to feed these chickens a balanced feed. Yeah, you can feed them a few little mealworms for treats, but they're a treat. They're not where they're going to get their nutrition. Just like when you put them out and let them free range in your yard, there's very little feed value for a chicken in grass, and it takes a lot of bugs to get much nutrition. So you still need to feed them regular poultry feed. You want to dip their beaks in the water, okay, so that they get a drink and they also then know where that water is. On the layer side, it's going to take anywhere from 16 to 25 weeks under good conditions with proper feed and care for them to start laying. Meat birds, you can go from a chick to ready to process in 6 to 8 weeks. And they are not really pets as much as you can kind of make them a little bit of pet. They have to be cared for, and they're livestock, and you want to be sure that they've got all the environment that they need to thrive.
What do people need to know about the brooders and the heat sources?
Brooders are where you're going to put these chicks when they're chicks, or poults, or any poultry, when they're young. They need a source of heat and warmth. Normally they would get that in the natural setting. They would go under the mother hen or the hen turkey, and they would kind of sit on them and keep them warm. If you're going to raise them, without the mother hen, you've got to provide them a heat source or they will die. Chicks need a temperature 95 degrees when they are first day olds, same with turkeys. And you can provide that with a heat lamp or a heat plate. I prefer the heat plates. They're much safer and they use a lot less energy. A heat plate may heat just a little over 100 degrees. And as the bird grows, you raise it, adjust the legs and raise it up, and they go underneath it, similar to like going under the mother hen. A heat lamp can be extremely dangerous because they heat to a very high temperature. And they were commonly used up until the last probably 4 or 5 years, but they are a fire hazard. And if that bulb breaks, or if that hot bulb comes in contact with the bedding, it will cause a fire.
What are the takeaway messages you want to make sure that people know before they bring chicks home? What are the things we want to highlight?
Do your research. Do your research when you're even selecting that basic breed. Have the correct environment to put those birds in when you get them home. Be sure they have feed and water. And if you are someone who likes to go on vacation in the summer, plan ahead and know who's going to take care of those animals when you're gone, because they still need to be fed and they still need to be watered. And just hanging a big huge waterer in there and the 50-pound feed container really isn't good enough. And work, if you have questions, work with UVM Extension, find a mentor locally, somebody that you can reach out to when you've got questions.
More information about raising poultry at home can be found at eExtension, which is the website for the National Extension System. The address is poultry.extension.org. The website offers guides to getting started, a blog, and Ask an Expert option. The University of Vermont's Aiken Lecture Series began in 1975. The lectures are a tribute to the late Vermont Governor and United States Senator George D. Aiken. They provide a platform to learn about critical national issues in forums free and open to the public. Until her passing in 2014, Aiken's wife Lola served on the board of the lecture series, and at the state level, she was a driving force in politics, education, and environmental conservation. To learn more about Lola Aiken, students in the UVM Reporting and Documentary Storytelling program through the Center for Research on Vermont spoke with longtime director of the Aiken Lecture Series.
If I were to, the saying behind every famous or great man, there is a equally great woman, that would be their situation. She made him look really good. She kept him she was I think the power behind the throne, so to speak, and he knew it. My name is Cynthia Belliveau, and I'm the Dean of Continuing and Distance Education here at the University of Vermont. And I manage the Aiken Lecture Series and have for 20 years. I first met Lola at the Capitol Diner in Montpelier, where she hung out. And she would hold court with, again, all different walks of life, and they met every morning. And I was introduced to her because she's the keeper of the George Aiken flame and very much devoted to him. And she was an amazing encyclopedia of all things. Because she was his secretary, she kept all of his appointments. She knew everyone. She could talk at length about every single, from the Cuban Missile Crisis to the Vietnam War. She could tell you about the politics of all the wives. She just knew everything. But she was, as I said, the encyclopedia. And when anybody had anything to say about George, she would correct it. She would add more to the story. She was very much as I said, the curator of his life, and we all depended on that for further information. But the thing that was amazing about her is that she was so, again, so individually focused as well as trying to keep the legacy going. So she would send thank you notes to every single person who helped with the Aiken Lecture Series, handwritten, beautiful handwriting, that sort of secretarial script. There would be detail in it so that it wasn't just some pro forma sort of thing. She would name you and she would talk about what you actually did. The other piece about Lola is that she was only about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, like she was this tiny little thing. But her energy level, and she wore those big black glasses, when she would get up every single Aiken lecture, we'd watch this little woman going up the stairs to get to the podium. We'd have to bring the mic down for her. And she would talk at length about George, but she also would talk about what the series was doing, who the different speakers were. She had a lot to say about who we should bring in. It was just like this amazing thing to watch the historical connection between all that George had done, and then for her long life to be still represented in that. Really miss her perspective, and I certainly try to keep the torch going.
Our thanks to the students in the UVM Reporting and Documentary Storytelling program, which is part of the Center for Research on Vermont in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. And once again, thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.